This video is sponsored by Othram. We would like to begin today's video by telling you about a cause that is incredibly close to our hearts, and we think the hearts of our viewers too. Othram, which has become a household name for true crime enthusiasts, is asking for our help. Today, the technology exists to solve most crimes where DNA evidence is available. But it is the cost to run such tests and to employ full-time staff and scientists in order to manage, read, and interpret data that is actually stopping these cases from being solved. Many of those whose DNA samples are just sitting on shelves may have been waiting for years or even decades for new technological advancements to provide answers. And in some cases, criminals will continue to walk free until funding is sourced to prove their guilt. Public contributions enable Othram, in collaboration with police and other investigators, to utilize their cutting-edge DNA analysis technologies. These advanced sequencing techniques offer the opportunity for scientists to isolate and analyze specific genetic markers, which can provide deeper insights into DNA samples that were previously too degraded or incomplete for analysis, or that never even received proper testing to begin with. Many of the cases that do not have the funding to proceed are crowdfunded on Othram's advocacy website, DNAsolves.com. Crowdfunded resources from viewers like you can be allocated to specific cold case investigations, providing vital resources and support in order to revisit and reanalyze old evidence with far more modern techniques. Cases that are crowdfunded must raise $7,500 in order to fund the necessary advanced DNA testing at Othram. In the grand scheme of a law enforcement investigation, $7,500 is not that much money to provide answers and to possibly usher in a path for justice in many cases. However, and this will probably come as no surprise to those watching, funding is always a barrier. This is where viewers like you come in. You can choose to what cases you want to donate and can specifically focus the power of your own money to the causes in which you believe. In addition to donating to specific cases, you can also choose to make a general monthly contribution to Othram, which will be used to support research into new forensic techniques and methodologies. If you're not only passionate about watching true crime, but also actually wish to commit to solving them, consider subscribing to Othram. You can visit DNAsolves.com/subscribe or click on the link in the description below. Here's one case currently undergoing funding that would benefit greatly from our viewers' generous donations. The case is known as that of Indianapolis John Doe. In November of 2022, human skeletal remains were discovered in an abandoned residence in Indianapolis, Indiana, near East 30th Street and North Sherman Drive. The abandoned home is nestled between derelict small businesses long closed and the barred windows of a late-night liquor store. After receiving a phone call about a possible homicide victim found in an abandoned building, Marion County investigators who responded to the location ultimately identified the partial skeletal remains as belonging to an African-American male with an estimated age not exceeding that of 50 years. Despite thorough examination of the remains, no additional distinguishing physical features could be discerned. After exhaustive investigative efforts, authorities were still unable to ascertain the man's identity, resulting in his classification as yet another John Doe. The particulars of the case have been logged into the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, often referred to as NAMUS, under the reference number UP98225. Moving forward, the Marion County Coroner's Office is actively exploring the application of advanced DNA technology, aiming to uncover fresh insights that may lead to the identification of the individual. Currently, in 2024, the Marion County Coroner's Office, in collaboration with Othram, is completing the steps to ascertain how Othram's advanced forensic DNA analysis could assist in identifying the deceased individual or a close relative of his. This partnership builds on previously successful efforts with Marion authorities, where Othram played a critical role in identifying previously unknown individuals, later discovered to be Randy Carl Lee and Patricia Anna Anderson, whose families were both notified after many years awaiting answers. The coroner's office is actively seeking assistance from the public in this ongoing investigation. If you possess any information that could contribute to resolving this case, please reach out to the Marion County Coroner's Office by calling area code 317-327-4744. Be sure to reference the agency case number, which is 223956, or you can use the NamUs ID, which is UP98225. In 1967, Jocelyn Rostad and her husband purchased a house in the small town of Spring Grove, located in southern Minnesota. They were the home's 8th owners. The house was in the same condition as it had been for what the couple assumed was decades. In 1977, they took down a wall in order to use the fireplace, but it wasn't until 2005 that they discovered the fireplace had an ash pit. On December 16, 2005, the masonry workers who had been hired to clean out the ancient and untouched ash pit found themselves cleaning up more than just dust and debris when they uncovered a human skull. The Spring Grove Police Department was notified and transported the skull to the medical examiner's office. The skull was missing parts of the forehead and sections from the back and right temple. Although the ash from the fireplace was analyzed, no additional bone fragments were found. It was unable to be determined whether or not foul play was involved. In the years that followed, the skull bounced from lab to lab, where it was determined to belong to a Caucasian male of at least 30 years of age. The property owners were cooperative with the investigation, however, they had minimal information that could assist in solving the case. When the couple bought the house in 1967, they were unaware of the existence of a fireplace. It was only upon moving in and inspecting the house that they discovered a hidden fireplace. It was concealed behind a styrofoam wall in a closet. They later opened the fireplace for use as a heat source between 1977 and 1986, after which it remained unused until the 2005 masonry work. Further investigation into the home's history revealed that it was constructed in the early 1900s and had been rented out on the second floor for over 60 years. The property had several owners over the century, including a notable doctor named Melvin Sylvester Nelson. Interviews with previous homeowners and contact with the hospitals in Spring Grove and nearby Granite Falls yielded little additional information about Dr. Nielsen. He had purchased the home in 1915 and had resided there with his family until 1931. While he had a separate office, it was said that he was known to see patients at his residence. The skull has not been linked to any cold cases nor missing persons reports, and authorities believe it may have been present at the site before 1967. Despite various interviews and a DNA sample taken in 2006, no conclusive results have emerged. Othram utilized the advanced DNA testing techniques in an effort to solve the mystery surrounding the skull. Through their DNA sequencing technique known as FGGS, Othram was able to come up with 5 distant relatives who may be somehow linked to the remains. 2 of the distant relatives were able to be located. They have worked directly with authorities in uncovering leads to identify the owner of the skull. For now, a new chapter of investigation is underway, offering up renewed hope that this case will eventually be solved. Thanks to the generous contributions from the public, the campaign to raise money for testing to begin was fully funded, and the victim is currently pending identification. In the meantime, Spring Grove Police Department is seeking information from the public. They can be contacted at area code 507-498-2677. The case is recorded in the NamUs database under UP8772. In July of 2005, construction workers who were in the process of demolition at a location in Shelby, a suburb of Louisville, Kentucky, found partial skeletal remains belonging to an unknown woman. The lot was located on the 3600 block of 7th Street Road. The woman's body had been purposefully hidden and had been posed in a way that indicated foul play was involved in her death. Authorities, who were quickly called to the scene, suspected that her death could be a homicide. Very little was known about the property where her body was found. The lot had previously housed an ice cream supply shop, and later was a junkyard. Both had since been cleared. Investigators determined that these remains belonged to a Caucasian woman between the ages of 20 and 40. The woman was estimated to be 5 foot 2 inches tall, but her weight could not be determined. She's thought to have had straight brown hair based on the hair found on her body, although it is possible that this reflects only her root color and that her hair could have been a different color in people's memories. Autopsy reports specify that she had a narrow and distinctive nose, a detail which may stick out in people's memories. No clothing nor other identifying items were found at the scene. In June of 2007, the case was entered into the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, also known as NamUs, and in an ongoing effort to help identify her, a forensic artist created a rendering of her in 2009. Since then, over 100 women have been ruled out as the victim, but despite ongoing efforts, law enforcement has been unable to identify her. In 2023, thanks to the generous donations of the public via DNAsolves.com, $7,500 was crowdfunded in order to gain new answers in the cold case. Once the required funds were raised, the Shively Police Department was able to team up with Othram in order to use their advanced forensic genetic genealogy to generate new leads. While the DNA profile is now being created, local police encourage anyone who might know the identity of this woman to contact the Shively Police Department by calling area code 502-448-6181. You can reference agency case number FA200541 or the NamUs ID, which is UP74. In November of 2020, the remains of an unidentified woman were discovered in a vacant residence in Nashville, Tennessee. On the evening of Thanksgiving, around 8 p.m., a 911 call was made to report the gruesome discovery. The Nashville Fire Department, District 17, and the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department promptly responded to the scene. The deceased was identified as a white female, estimated to be between 20 and 45 years old. She would have stood approximately 5 feet 4 inches tall, and she weighed around 225 pounds. Her hair was reddish-brown, wavy, and approximately 12 inches in length. Notably, her autopsy report notes that she had a semicolon tattoo on her left wrist, featuring a red heart above a black comma. At the time of her death, she was wearing white metal stud earrings in both ears. The details of her case were entered into the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System under case number UP76679. In 2023, a forensic artist from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation created a forensic sketch to represent the woman's appearance. Despite ongoing efforts by law enforcement to identify the woman, no viable leads have emerged, and her identity remains unknown. Consequently, the case has become cold with all known leads exhausted. Thanks to the crowdfunding efforts of Othram through DNAsolves.com, $7,500 was raised in order to use Othram's advanced DNA technology to possibly give this woman her identity back. Anyone with information that could aid in the investigation is encouraged to contact the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department by calling area code 615-862-8600 and referencing agency case number 2020-0731-871 or the NamUs ID, which is UP76679. Support the fight against uncertainty by contributing to a DNA Solves crowdfund for either the case we shared with you today, or you could click the link in the description below or visit DNAsolves.com to browse all open cases. If you want to support cases on a regular basis, and new cases are added regularly, you can become a subscriber. You'll be billed monthly at the amount that you select. To do so, you can click on the link in the bio below or visit DNAsolves.com/subscribe today. Thank you so much to Othram for sponsoring this video and for allowing countless families to finally have closure.